Our next Peabody from Frontline, this insider account reveals the dynamics of the decision-making process that led to the tragedy in Waco.
The siege has gone on now for 23 days. 23 days of two competing solutions, talk and action. Jamar, the agent in charge, has signed on for action. Byron Sage, the most visible negotiator, then recommends in writing an escalation of tactical measures, including tear gas. Under the cover of darkness, they would take the compound with Bradley tanks and gas. The Davidians, overwhelmed, would come out. They are ready to act, but first, the plan must be approved by Washington. The record shows that using tanks and gas on a compound still holding 25 children was a tough sell to this Attorney General. And on Monday, April 12th, she said no to the gas plan. The FBI didn't relent. They came back at the Attorney General.
This was presented as
after the Waco fire, Reno would say again and again that she authorized the gas plan because children were being abused.
We had had reports that they had been sexually abused, that babies had actually been beaten.
When she said, I was told the babies were being beaten, and I said, what do you mean? Babies are being picked up and beaten? Yes, I was told.
Then she will have to say who told her that. Certainly I did not.
But FBI documents uncovered by Frontline confirm that as the Bureau was pressuring Reno to approve the gas plan, someone in the FBI told her that children were being abused at Waco. But the FBI knew that children were not being beaten during the standoff. It is still not known who had told Reno about the child abuse. But on Friday, April 16th, she changed her mind and approved the gas plan.
Here to accept the Peabody, producer and director, Michael Kirk.
Well, thank you, Tom, and thank you to the Peabodys. About a year ago, I found myself sitting in an editing room at WGBH in Boston with 20,000 pages of transcripts, 600 beta tapes with audio from the FBI and David Koresh's telephone conversations, 47 volumes of photographs that had never been published, and the room was filled with other stock footage from all of the television stations who had worked so hard, and networks who had worked so hard to tell this story. And people would come in and say, what in the world can you possibly have to add to the debate, to the story, to the investigation of Waco 2 years later? And the wonderful thing about working at WGBH and the wonderful thing about working in public television, and especially at an investigatively oriented series like Frontline, is that 4 or 5 or 6 months later, we sort of got it. We figured it out. We started to unravel it all, and with the able assistance of an unbelievably good editor and co-producer who's fast with the finger and also with the structure and the thought, Ken Levis, with the assistance of Joe Rosenbloom, an investigative reporter who will not ever let me believe in any conspiracies unless I can really prove it. With the assistance of Scott Malone, we call him the Moose, who found himself in Austin, Texas, and went into the basement of a law firm and found 30,000 boxes and tapes and papers and all kinds of things sitting in the basement of this law firm, and called a Ryder truck up and sent it all to Boston. To Peter Boyer, who's a terrific magazine reporter, writer, author, and the very best kind of television correspondent for a producer like me. That is, he works very hard, he gets the story right, and then he steps back and goes home and lets us hook it all together, comes back and blesses it and makes sure it's all right. To Ben McCoy, one of the best cameramen in America working in documentaries right now, who shot this film with his partner, Steve Lederer. To Marina Kalb, who held us all together in all the ways that she always does, especially me, and kept the room running and the film working. To David Fanning, an executive producer we should all die for. Everybody who ever works in television needs someone like this to encourage them to know when to step aside and to know when to step in. And David, for 15 years, more than 300 films, has been doing that for producers like me everywhere, all over the world. And I thank David for that. And most importantly, for a personality at WGBH. And that personality is There because of one man, primarily because of one man, and that's Peter McGee, and after all of these years, I would like to publicly thank him as well. Thank you very much.